Princess Fumi Ogunleye Hancock's life is anything but normal. She's daughter of a young orphan who overcame great adversity to marry a Nigerian prince, a clothing line designer and an author. She wears many hats, but everything she does has one purpose: to make women look and feel like royalty. Princess Ogunleye Hancock is here with me today. Princess, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Now, I have to say that, I mean, there are many things I want to ask, but the first thing I want to start with really is coming from where I come from.
Yeah.
You hear people say a lot, especially in London, that, oh, in Africa, everyone's royalty, everyone. And sometimes you wonder, is there real credibility and weight to the royal home? But you're a princess. Tell us, give us a context of the royal home in Nigeria.
Well, I'm glad you asked because even I myself have been. There have been a lot of people that have actually come to me and asked me that question too. In Nigeria, there is true royalty in Nigeria. Of course, there's a lot of chieftaincy that goes on in Nigeria, and a lot of times when you're not within Nigeria, you cannot differentiate between chieftaincy and royalty. Royalty is somebody whose great-great-great-grandfather has actually been a king. In my situation, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, we have a lot of people that have actually put the information together all the way back to the 1800s, that my great-great-great have been ruling this area of Nigeria.
So chieftaincy would be when we decide, okay, this guy is a good guy, he's doing well, let's give him an honor.
Well, chieftaincy can be seen in two ways. There's one where you can actually give somebody an honor. For example, when the king was here last year, there are a couple of people that he actually gave chieftaincy to here when he was here last year. There are also chieftaincies where there are actually things that are inherited from their forefathers too. So you have those two types of chieftaincy. And to put this, to summarize this, the king that is there right now has 60 chiefs. So when you look at it in that perspective, you have a king and you have 60 chiefs.
Right.
Now, these other 60 chiefs might be traveling all over the world, and people will regard them as royalty, but they are indeed chiefs. So that's what differentiates that.
Okay. So here you are, you're a princess. And, of course, when we mention the word, the picture we have in mind is one who's spoiled rotten. Coming to America picture where people scrub your back and throw petals of flower down and then the father says, let them wait.
Well, I wish my dad was like that, but it's not like that at all. Because in fact, when you actually meet people that are actually from true royalty, they are well trained. You go through etiquette schools. You cannot get away with a lot of things that other people would get away with. So when you look at the movie that came out several years ago, that's just pure fantasy. Because as somebody who was raised in a royalty, you are taught not to be in certain places. You are taught not to do certain things that, that film is... Let's just call it a dream.
So all this time, all of us have been longing to be royalty. It's fantasy we were after.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're entitled to fantasies too, but it's all right, but it's not true.
So here we are. You're an author.
Yes.
You're a broadcaster. Yeah. You've done TV. You're a fashion designer with Her Majesty's products and Adassa, your company. And I was saying earlier, everything you do is about making women feel like royalty. Why was that important to you? What informs that?
Well, a lot of the women that I've spoken with, a lot of them have backgrounds of abuse, be it sexual, physical, that they've been stripped of their self-respect. Even I myself, I've experienced that at an early age before too. So for me, I could put myself back into that time when it was really dark for me, and that I didn't feel like wearing anything good. I just didn't feel like talking to anybody. I was under incredible amount of depression. So when I eventually got out of it, I said to myself, women do want to feel pretty. They do want to feel like a princess, and you really don't have to wait for a man to make you feel like a princess. You can be a princess yourself. Then meet your prince and call it a day.
Now, I have to say, I went on your site and saw some of the stuff there, and I thought, if you ever decide to arrange for men, you'll have to let me know. because some of those bags, they look dangerous.
Well, let me tell you something. When we launched this last year at the Palace in Nigeria. And one of the things that the king said to me was, okay, all right, I can get this. You and the queen, you're doing this. But sooner or later, you guys are going to have to think of us. So it's coming, but we just want to take care of our women first.
Now, for you, of course, this is not just about fashion.
No.
It's not just about self-motivation or self-help. There's faith in there as well. Where does the faith thing or the Jesus thing, as we say in London, come in for you?
Well, I was raised in a Christian home. My parents taught me that above all, Jesus is your number one. In everything that you touch, you cannot be successful without Jesus. So for me, and also with the trials that I had been through growing up in the United States, I have kind of drawn from that. And a lot of the things that I do now, I would not touch anything unless I know God has called me to touch it. And which brings me to the fashion and all that. They're not something that I went to school for. And this is how you can differentiate when God is really in something, because I'd never drawn bags before in my life. I'd never drawn clothes before. And I just sat down and God said, make my women beautiful. And I began to draw. And that's how I got that.
And finally, we've got about 30 seconds left. Just tell us about how the underprivileged in Africa are benefiting from the work of Adasa, your fashion line.
Well, Adasa Foundation strictly works with men and women in the third world country, especially in Emure, Ekiti right now. We do scholarships. We're looking to build a library there right now. There's also the Youth Life Center that we're really looking to do out there. So a lot of the things that we're doing, we're in collaboration with the king and the chiefs out there to kind of send children back to school. You have children that are out there now, very brilliant, but no amount of money, no money at all to go to school. So we're giving them uniforms, we're providing scholarships. The next thing we want to do now is the library, so we need help.
Francis, thank you so much for joining us. And I have your promise that when the men's line comes, you would let us know.
I'll call you on that.